Hello everyone, I'm Mihin Henkanaththegedara, and last class in phonics we learned about syllables. Do you know what a syllable is? A syllable is a part of a word that contains a single vowel sound. So you may know that words are part of sentences, so sentences are made up of words. Similarly, words are made up of syllables, so syllables are parts of words. And for each syllable, you must have one vowel sound. So every syllable has a vowel sound. And some syllables also have consonants together with the vowel sound. So there might be one consonant or two or even more. But they must have one vowel sound. If there isn't a vowel sound, it won't be a syllable. Do you remember what vowel sounds are? So we have learned about vowel sounds earlier in phonics. And we learned about A, E, I, O, and U sounds. And we learned that each vowel has short sound, a short sound, and a long sound. A short sound of a vowel is produced by just having the vowel. For example, in the word cat, there is an A, which makes the short A sound, which is A. So we pronounce the word as cat. We can also produce long sounds of vowels, and these are made by usually combining two different vowels. For example, in the word meat, the E and the A are combined and make a long E sound. An easy way to find what the sound is when two vowels are together is to first look at the first vowel, and that will say which sound it is. And if there's a second vowel, then it will be a long sound. For example, in the word meat, the E tells us that there is a E sound, and since there is an A after the E, then we know that it's a long E sound instead of a short E sound. So now we know what a vowel sound is. You may remember that each syllable has one vowel sound. For example, in meat, there is only one syllable because there is only one vowel sound, and the syllable is meat. The vowel sound is the long E sound produced by E and A, and the two consonants are M and T. But you may remember that not all syllables need consonants. They only need a vowel sound, but some syllables do have consonants. So now that you know how syllables are made, what do you think we would do if someone asked us to count the syllables in a word? You may remember that each syllable has one vowel sound. So the easiest way to count the syllables in a word is to count how many vowel sounds there are, and that will be also the number of syllables. For example, if we say the word reading, then we see that there's three vowels, which are E, A, and I. But since the E and A together produce a long E sound, and the I makes a short I sound, there's actually only two vowel sounds, which are long E and short I. So there's also only two syllables, which are read and ding. There's actually another easier way to find the number of syllables in a word, and that is by clapping as you say the word. For example, for the word reading, we can clap as we say the word reading. Because we clapped, we count how many times we clapped, and then that's how many syllables are in the word. So if we say reading, reading, I clapped twice, so the word has two syllables. Okay, now we are going to practice, and I want you to do it with me this time. we are going to clap banana. B-ba-na-na. How many times did I clap? I clapped 3 times. So the word banana has 3 syllables. Now you can try with the word read. How many times did you clap? I'm going to show you. Read. I clapped 1 time. So read has 1 syllable. Now I want you to try the word computer. The word computer, if you clapped, it has 3 syllables. Com-pu-ter. I clapped 3 times. And I also want to tell you about a special vowel sound that you probably did not learn yet, which is the schwa vowel sound. And we will probably cover that in more detail in later phonics lessons. But the schwa vowel sound is a very common sound in English, and it makes the sound There is actually not a separate letter to represent the schwa sound, but sometimes in dictionaries, in the pronunciation guide, they use an upside down E, letter E, to represent the schwa sound. If you see that, you will know that it makes the sound For example, in the first syllable of the word banana, the A makes a schwa sound instead of an A sound. So that's why we pronounce it as B instead of ba or ba. So the schwa sound can actually be represented by any of the vowels, but there is not usually a separate vowel to represent it. For example, in the word computer, it's represented by the letter O. Computer. Could you hear the sound? Okay. Now I'm going to tell you how to split words into syllables. So we learned how to count the syllables in a word, but it's more difficult usually to know how to split them, how to split the consonants. Okay. So there's actually 6 types of syllables, and I'm going to go over the 6 types first. First, we have closed syllables. A closed syllable is a syllable where the vowels of the syllable are closed in by at least 1 consonant. What that means is there's a consonant at the end of the word, of the syllable, and that closes in the vowel that the syllable has. For example, in the word cat, the A is closed in by the T at the end. Closed syllables always have a short vowel sound. For example, in the word cat, the A is a short A, so we pronounce it as cat. Next we have open syllables. Open syllables are similar to closed syllables, but the vowels are open. That means that the syllable ends in a vowel, and there is no consonant coming after it to close it in. For example, in the word go, the O is not closed in by another syllable. For example, if we closed it in by putting a T at the end, it would be got, and since it's closed, it would become a short vowel sound. But since in the word go, the O is open, the syllable is open, the O is pronounced as a long O, since vowels in open syllables are always long. Similarly, we can have the word bet. Since it's open, we pronounce the E as a long E, so we pronounce the word as B. But if we closed it, for example, by putting a T at the end, it would become a short vowel sound, because closed syllables always have a short vowel sound. And we could actually do that with any consonant. For example, we could use M or P or L. And the syllable would have a short vowel sound because it would be closed. Next, we have silent E, actually magic E. And these words are of the form V, so vowel, consonant, and then E. So they always have to end in a vowel, a consonant, and an E. For example, in the word bake, the last letters are A, K, and E. And that follows this form of vowel, consonant, and E, so it's a magic E word. Magic E words always have a long vowel sound, but the E is always silent. What that means is that this A will be a long A, and we don't pronounce the E. So we don't pronounce it as bakey or bakey, we pronounce it as bake, because the E is silent. Okay, next we have vowel teams. I actually talked about this earlier, and vowel teams are when two vowels are next to each other. For example, in the word team, the E and the A are next to each other. And because of that, as I told you before, the E tells us that that we have a long E sound, and the A tells us that we have a long E sound. It makes the E long. There is one exception, actually a few exceptions, but a common exception to this rule is double O. And double O, instead of having a long O sound, it actually makes a long U sound, which is oo. So you can remember that exception, but usually the first vowel tells us what sound it is, and the second vowel makes it a long sound. Next we have R-controlled syllables. And R-controlled syllables have at least one vowel followed by the letter R. And they're actually not closed syllables, because even though R is a consonant, with R-controlled syllables, it actually is different from a closed syllable. The R-controlled syllable, in an R-controlled syllable, the R controls the sound of the vowel before it. For example, in the word car, the R at the end changes the letter A's sound from A or A to R. So if we have A followed by R, it's going to make the sound R. For ER or IR or UR, it's going to make the sound And for OR, it's going to make the sound OR. For example, in the word bird, because it's an IR, it makes the sound, as I told you before. Similarly, in the word fur, the UR produces a sound, so we pronounce the word as fur. And in the word fort, there is an OR, so we pronounce the word as fort. Finally, we have the consonant LE words. So these words are words of the form consonant and then LE at the end of the syllable. For example, in the word bubble, we would usually pronounce the last syllable as ble, but because of the LE, we actually pronounce it differently. Whenever we have a consonant LE syllable, we switch the LE to schwa L. So instead of le, we pronounce it as because the schwa makes the sound. For example, in the word bubble, we switch around the L and the E to schwa L, and then we pronounce it as bubble. And here's what I told you before about schwa. Sometimes in dictionaries and pronunciation guides, they're represented by an upside down E, and here's that symbol. But usually when we write in English, we represent it with a different letter. For example, in the word bubble, we use the E. Next, I'm going to teach you some rules about how to break words into syllables. The first rule is split two consonants that are between vowels. For example, in the word rabbit, we know it has two syllables because there's two vowel sounds. And if we clap twice. Rabbit. But we don't know where to split it. For example, we can split it after the RA. So RA is one syllable and BBIT is another syllable. Or we could split it like this. RABB is one syllable and IT is another one. We could also split it as RAB and BIT. So how would we know how to split it into syllables correctly? For this, we use the rule, which is rule 1. And what that says is if we ever find two consonants that are surrounded by two vowels. For example, here it's vowel A and vowel I, and between them there's two consonants which are B and B. Then we split the word between the two consonants. So here we split it between the two B's. Another example is with napkin. There's an A which is a vowel on one side of the PK, and on the other side there's an I. And because there's two consonants which are P and K between the A and the I, we split the word between the P and the K, which are the two consonants. The next rule is if a word ends in consonant LE, split it before the consonant. You may remember what I taught you about consonant LE words, and that is that we switch the LE to schwa L and we pronounce it as O. So for example, in the word table, instead of table, we pronounce it as table. It's very easy to divide consonant LE syllables, and we do this by just splitting it before the consonant LE, because usually words end in consonant LE, and the syllable is the consonant and the LE. So that's one syllable in table, which is BLE, and then we split it before that syllable, and the rest of the word is on the other side. So TA, and here it's just an open syllable, TA, so we pronounce it as te, because open syllables always have a long vowel. And there's only two syllables here. So one syllable is te, the other one is bo. Okay. The next rule, rule number 3, is split before or after a consonant that comes between two vowels. For example, here with the word baby, we know we have two syllables because one vowel is A and the other is Y. And you may think Y is a consonant, but usually we treat it as a vowel because it makes a vowel sound. And here the vowel sound is E, which is a short I sound. So in the word baby, how would we know where to split the word? We could split it between the BAB and the Y. Or we could split it between the BA and the BY. For this, we remember the closed and open syllables. And open syllables always have a long vowel sound. And closed syllables always have a short vowel sound. So we can make use of this rule to split the word baby. We know that in baby, the A makes a long vowel sound. And we know that open vowels always have long vowel sounds. So we can split it in a way that the A vowel sound is in an open syllable. And we do this by not closing the A with a B, and instead moving the B to the Y, and then we have an open syllable, BA, which we pronounce as bay, and the other syllable is BY, B, B. Similarly, we can also split it to make a closed syllable, and we do this for short vowel sounds. For example, in the word habit, the A makes a short vowel sound, so we split it in a way that the A is closed, and we move the B over here to make the syllable hab, and the rest of the word is just it. Okay, the next rule is split two vowels next to each other that do not work as a team. So earlier I told you about two vowels being next to each other and working as team vowels, as a vowel team. But sometimes two vowels next to each other are actually not a team. And a way we can tell if they're a team or not is if there's only one vowel sound produced by them together, then it's a vowel team. But if the two vowels make two different sounds, then it's not a vowel team. For example, in the word team, the E and the A work together to make a long E sound. But in the word lion, you can hear two different vowel sounds, which are lie, so long I, and un, which is O. So we split the word lion between the two vowels, and then we have lie and un. And you can see that this works well, because we know that since the syllable lie is now open, it's going to make a long sound, and the O syllable is closed by the end, so it's going to make a short sound. And I can't remember if I told you how important this was, but we don't need to have consonants on both sides of a vowel to close it. If there's a consonant at the end, that will be enough to close the syllable. And sometimes there will be a consonant at the beginning of a syllable, of a closed syllable, but even without a consonant at the beginning, if we have a consonant at the end after the vowel, then we can say that the vowel is closed. Similarly, we can split the word neon between the E and the O, because the E makes a long E sound and the O makes the O sound. So they make two different vowel sounds, so they're not a team, and we split them between the first vowel and the second vowel. And you may not know what neon is, but neon is a gas. It's an element. It's a gas that is sometimes used in making light up signs and also other uses. So now you also know a new word. Okay, rule number 5 is split before or after the second consonant when three consonants come together. This is a bit difficult to explain, but you may remember how we learned about how if we have two vowels on both sides of two consonants. For example, in the word rabbit, which we learned about earlier, there's an A on one side of the two B's and an I on the other side. So there's two vowels, and between them is two consonants, which are B and B. And we split between the two consonants. But sometimes we can have more than two consonants. For example, if we have 3, we may not know how to divide the word. Oftentimes, when we have more than two consonants, it's actually, even though there's more than two consonants, there's still only two consonant sounds. And there's a special type of sound called a digraph. A digraph is a type of sound which is produced by two consonants working together. So it's sort of like a vowel team. For example, if we have P and L together, it's going to make the digraph sound pl. For example, in the word complete, even though P and L are two different letters, they're part of the same digraph, the same sound, and they make the pl sound. And M makes the m sound. So even though there's 3 letters, there's only 2 different consonant sounds because the digraph is treated as one consonant. So now we know that if we said this PL, the digraph, was one consonant, how do you think we would split it? So in this case, we can apply rule number 1 and we split it between the 2 consonants because there are 2 consonants between 2 vowels. And we split the M onto one side, producing the syllable calm, and on the other side we have pleat. And the PL acts as one consonant. So whenever we have 3 or more consonants in between 2 vowels, we look at the digraphs and treat them as one letter. And once we have the 2 letters, once we've simplified it and we know and we are treating the digraph as one letter, then we can split it, and then we know how to split it like between which 2 consonants. And this also works for 4 or more consonants in a row. You just split it into 2 digraphs or more. You just split it into 2 consonants. For example, with complete, we combined the P and L and we treated it as one consonant. But if there was another letter with the M that produced the digraph with the M, we would then group those 2 together and treat them as one consonant. And then we would split it between the new consonant that we added and the P. Okay, I think this is the last rule. And this rule is rule number 6. Divide after a prefix and before a suffix. You may remember that we learned about prefixes and suffixes, I think maybe in grammar. But we have learned about prefixes and suffixes before. And if you don't remember, you can look at the YouTube video. But a prefix and a suffix is basically a syllable that we add onto a root word. We add it onto a word, and that changes the meaning of the word. For example, in the word friendly, the root word is friend, yaniyalo. But if we add on ly, that makes it friendly, and friendly means someone who is like a friend. You know what friendly means. But we treat, since usually prefixes and suffixes are one syllable, when there's a prefix or a suffix before or after a word, then we split it between the suffix or prefix and the root word. For example, with friendly, we split it between the root word, which is friend, and the suffix, which is li. So the 2 syllables are friend and li. There is one exception, actually several exceptions, but a common one is the suffix ed. And ed usually makes a word past tense. For example, with the word jump, ikan paninawa, that would be present tense. But if we say jumped with ed at the end, then it would be past tense. But sometimes often the suffix ed does not add an extra vowel sound. For example, in jumped, if we clap jumped, then we only clap once, and there's only one vowel sound. So then we know that the suffix ed sometimes does not create an extra vowel sound, so it does not create an extra syllable. So jumped is only one syllable, and also sailed is also one syllable, and we don't split between the suffix and the root word. Okay, Now we are going to practice. First we have the word insect. Let's see how many syllables there are. Let's clap. Insect. I clapped twice. So the word insect has 2 syllables. And when we want to split it into syllables, we apply the first rule, which was split 2 consonants that are in between 2 vowels. Here, the N and S are 2 consonants which are between the I and E, which are 2 vowels. So we split between the N and the S, the 2 consonants. So the two syllables are in and set. I'm going to do one more practice. The next one is garden. Let's clap it. Garden. Here, we know that there's also 2 syllables. And let's now split it into syllables. Here we also have the 2 consonants between 2 vowels. R and D are the consonants which are between 2 vowels. So we split between the 2 consonants which are R and D. So the 2 syllables are gar and den. And now I'm going to ask you what 2 types of syllables these are. What do you think gar is? The syllable gar is an R-controlled syllable. Because it ends in a vowel and R, the R controls the vowel and changes its sound. So here, it changes the sound of the A to R. So we pronounce it as gar. And the second syllable, we see that the vowel E is closed by the letter N, the consonant N. And we see that, we hear that the syllable has a short E sound. So we know that it's a closed syllable. Because it's closed, the vowel is closed, and because it has a short sound. Okay. Here I have some more practice, and if you want, you can pause the video and practice these. And the answers are in purple on this side, and the words are in black on this side. I'm going to slowly go through these slides, and you can pause and practice if you would like. Here's the next slide. Here's the next slide. And here we can also clap, and the vowel sound is highlighted, and these are all teen sounds. And you can practice the rule which I taught you, and you can remember it with when the vowels go working, the front does the talking. And that means the front vowel always makes the sh sound, and the last vowel, it means that the front vowel is going to be long. For example, in stay, which ends in AY, the A, which is the first vowel, means that there's going to be an A sound. And because there is another vowel, which is Y, after it, the A is going to be a long vowel. Okay, here's some more practice. You can practice this too. Okay, now I'm going to go over the homework. And after watching this section, I want you to pause and finish the homework, and then you can check your answers. Okay, for the first exercise, you have to divide each word by putting a slash and write how many syllables each word has. Okay, I'm going to do the first one with you. Let's first count how many syllables the word animal has. Animal. How many times did I clap? I clapped 3 times. So the word animal has 3 syllables. Now let's divide it. First, we hear the sound A, and since it's a short A sound, we know we have to close the syllable. We do this by putting the next letter, which is N, after the A. And now we have a closed syllable, and that's the first syllable, and we divide it off from the rest of the word. The next sound is E, and E is a short I sound. So, then we have E, and then finally we have E and we close it with N, and then finally we have O and we close it with L. So there's 3 syllables. Similarly, in the word adventure, we're going to clap first. Adventure. The word adventure has 3 syllables. Next, we're going to divide it into syllables. First, we see 2 consonants in between 2 vowels. Then what do? We can apply our first rule, which is split two consonants which are between 2 vowels. The 2 consonants between the 2 vowels are D and V, which are between the vowels A and E. So we split in between the 2 consonants, and we split between the D and the V. So the first syllable is ad, A-D. Now we need to split between the syllable starting with V and the next syllable, because there's 3 syllables. Okay. Here we also see 2 consonants in between 2 vowels. So then we split the 2 consonants, which are N and T. So the syllables are ad, then, and ch. And you can do the rest of this worksheet. And this is actually the only one I'm asking you to do, but there's actually a lot more homework which you can do if you want the practice, and I recommend you to do it. But if you think you have enough practice, you can just do this page, and that will be enough. Here's the other work. I'm going to go through them slowly, actually. Okay, that's all we have for homework. And next, I'm going to show you the answers, but I want you to pause before that. So pause the screen here. Okay, are you ready for the answers? Now we're going to go over the answers. Okay, here are the answers for the first page. I'm going to pause for a moment so you can check your work. Okay, and the second page, there aren't really many answers because there's many different ways you can do it. But if you follow the instructions, that's good. And if you did it, you can submit it also to Google Classroom, but it's okay if you didn't. The next one also doesn't have any specific answers, and this one does have answers. So here are the answers for this one. You can pause if you need more time. And sorry, there's a little typing error here. Instead of information, there should be information. I'm sorry about that. Oh, and also here. This should be fundamental. Okay, and this word is dehydrate. Some of the words are spelled wrong in the homework. So if you decided to do this, you can look at the answer key for the correct words, which I corrected right now. And this is why you need to pay attention in English class so you don't make typing errors, like me. Okay, now I think everything is fixed. But if you see any more errors, you can tell us, and then we can, please tell us, and then we can tell everyone else. The next one is a syllables chart where you need to write words with this many syllables. And this also doesn't have any specific answers, but I added some answers that you could have written just to help you. Here are some example words. And the 5-syllable words and 6-syllable words, sometimes it's difficult to come up with these words, so I helped you with it. And some of the more difficult words I'm going to explain to you. The word accelerated means to increase your speed. So if you're going slowly, actually it means to change your speed. So if you're going slowly, you can accelerate by going faster. And if you go faster, if you're going fast, you can accelerate by going slower. But it means to change your speed, and usually to increase your speed. Circumnavigation means going around something. For example, if you went around the world, then we can say you circumnavigated the world. Cardiovascular means something that is related to the heart. For example, cardiovascular exercise is like exercising for your heart. Biodegradable means something that can degrade naturally. That means, for example, if you had like an orange peel or something, or an apple, or maybe a carrot, or something like that, and you left it out in nature, eventually it would be degraded by bacteria because it would rot. And that is something that is degradable. But if you had something metal, maybe a bicycle, it usually will take a very long time to degrade or won't degrade. So that wouldn't be biodegradable. Extraterrestrial means something that is beyond the Earth. For example, extraterrestrial beings is like an alien, someone who is not from the Earth. So if there were people on Mars, they would be extraterrestrial. And finally, personification means making something a person, or like a person, or treating something as a person. For example, we can say the trees dance in the wind. Sometimes, usually, writers use personification a lot. If we say the trees danced in the wind, we know that the trees aren't really dancing because only people can dance. Trees can't actually dance. But we actually mean that the trees are just moving in the wind. So that's what personification is. It's like treating something as a person even though it's not a person. And those are some harder words which now you know if you didn't know. And that's actually all I have. And I hope you learned about syllables well, and I hope you understand it now. And thank you for listening. I'll see you later in the next class.